Okay, ladies and germs, y'all know the drill. Where you from? Where you at? What are you doing? Gonna go talk about these morning boxing talks. Talking about the morning boxing talks. Gonna let the list populate. Some very interesting comments from Clarissa Shields that grabbed my attention. I'm not gonna get into my stance just yet. I want to actually open the discussion up to the panel. I'm going to have Box Watch. He's going to be joining us. Some of you might be familiar with Box Watch. He's a big supporter of women's boxing, like we are here on this channel. He's interviewed quite a few fighters. Raven Chapman of the Capricornian chapter of Capricorns in the United Kingdom. He's interviewed a lot of people, honestly. Shout out to Alex of the Boxing Bodega, the Outlaw Seeker. Aye! You know what I'm saying? And we're just going to discuss Clarissa's very recent comments in reference to Jake Paul, those who choose to fight on his undercard, how we interpret, those comments, how he interprets them, how I interpret them, etc., etc. Timmy, what's good? J Mac, aye, what's goody, J Mac? And all sorts of different subjects. But that's the one I wanted to start off with because I was going to do a video about it. But I thought it would be better freestyle than open to interpretation. Not just my stance on it, but how some of you guys out there might feel about it. Gonna be an interesting conversation. Boxing talk in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And different stuff. And yeah, man. Shout out to Turian folk. Shout out to J Mac, Timmy Nealon, the Outlaw, Red or Dead. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be an interesting conversation, I think, because it's a lot of different ways you can interpret what she said. It's a lot of different ways. I just choose to be level-headed because I think that a lot of people take the opportunity because they already don't like her. They take the opportunity to take shots, and I'm just looking at it for what it is. I'm just looking at what she said. What is it in reference to? And what it is, and I'm gonna just wait for Rack to show up. How Shields turned against Serrano, even though Serrano is one of her few supporters in her financial demands. Morning. Yeah, I mean, I got like, yo, bro, don't ask me. I got like I have a lot of thoughts on this. I really do. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I just really want to wait for Rack to get here so we could get into them. I was goody fish, was goody see AIDS, see you, what's good? Moaning. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate the love from Scotland and down under. Aye. You know what I'm saying? She was spot on. That's more or less what I was thinking. You see, this is the thing. Clarissa Shields is basically saying that she's too good to fight on the undercard of a Jake Paul, that she doesn't have to resort to that. And I agree because she doesn't have to resort to that. If you think about it, while she's not a $1 million fighter yet, like she said, here go Box Watch. All right, everybody, this is Box Watch. Introduce yourself to the people. Let them know a bit about yourself.
Yo, what's happening, people? Box Story from London, England. Me and IQ, we talking boxing over Twitter for a couple months now. I know this guy's got good knowledge. I'm out here talking about the latest news, the British news, the female boxing. We talk about a bit of everything, yo. This guy's a knowledgeable guy. That's why we can talk. We've had a few conflicts on the gram, on Twitter, but it's all respect, it's all love. I like Twitter because you can argue with people and move on to the bigger picture. Well, we're all boxing fans. We all got our opinion from around the world, so it's good to clash opinions. Like, I'm not gonna block someone just because they got a different opinion. That's not what men do. We conflict, we debate, and yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, like and I don't think that we're at odds when it comes to this particular subject. But I do think that we have two different takes on it because this is what I got from what Clarissa said. Clarissa, and we all heard the soundbite. She's basically saying that she's too good to fight on the undercard of a Jake Paul. And the reason that I agree is because Clarissa, unlike Amanda, has 2 transatlantic network deals. Here in America, the MMA fights is on ESPN. That's the biggest sports network in the country. In the United Kingdom, she just signed a deal with Sky. So when I see her say that she doesn't have to do that and that she would never do that, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, she's in a position to talk because you know what? She never liked Jake Paul. This has been going on for months. She never liked that guy. She was never trying to rub elbows with him. She's keeping the same energy. And when she says that, nah, I wouldn't fight for that amount of money or I would not resort to that, she is telling the truth because it's like, well, yeah, she got 2 major platform deals on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. So she doesn't have to do that. So when she turns her nose up at it, I'm kind of like, I dig it. I dig it. I understand because she never liked that dude. Whereas I saw when all that celebrity boxing started, I saw that Amanda was like, yo, this shit is dumb. They need to stop this shit. And it was like as soon as it became convenient to get on board, the stance completely changed. Whereas Clarissa, I see she's keeping the same energy. She never liked that dude. She never liked that celebrity boxing shit. And she still don't like it. So I'm like, what do you think?
Now, of course, Clarissa, even though Clarissa's not making the money she wants to make, she's still in a better position than 95% of these other female fighters. Clarissa's getting deals with Top Rank. Clarissa's having deals with Sky Sports. Clarissa's getting paid, but she's not getting the amount. She's not getting paid the amount she wants to get paid, but she's still getting paid. And the reason why she's not taking the boxing fights, she's been doing MMA, is because she ain't getting paid as much as she want to get paid. So she's been going to a whole other sport doing something else. She's not. Amanda's not in that position as Clarissa to be able to turn down certain fights of opportunity to money. I'm sure in Clarissa's career, as much as she says she ain't made that much, she's breaking even. She's made a lot more than almost every other female out there. And someone like Amanda Serrano, someone like let's just let people some fights like Yulihan Yuna, Jessica Bock, Erica Cruz. These girls, top 10 pound per pound, no doubt. I know you know your women's boxing, top 10 pound per pound, no doubt. There's a massive gulf between what they're getting and then what you can say the likes of Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields, Jessica McCaskill. And even they can argue they're not getting that much. But there's a massive gulf between all those other girls. So when Jake Paul comes along and he's offering fighters like Serrano, Mercado opportunities to fight on his show and pay them their biggest paydays today, you can't.
I understand it.
Like, you can't turn it down. Like you said, it's prize fight. We're fighting for prize here. It's fighting for money. These guys are giving more opportunities than these old school guys. Why not?
I understand it, but like you saw when the Jamie Mercado fight got announced, you know, and I said it here on the channel that look, they tried to get Erica. The story is that Erica turned down the money. That's the story. I don't know anything beyond that. I just know that that's what Amanda said. They offered Erica $100,000, the unified titles. She said no. She's got a fight coming up now. Obviously, it's not against somebody as good as Amanda. So I'm like, I dig that you tried, but Mercado is Mercado, and you know Mercado at 126. It's like, bruh, Mercado at 122. I would pick Daniela Bermudez to beat her. I would go that because Daniela's she's been in way more high level situations, right? Mm-hmm. You fight someone like a Mercado and you make decent money doing it, but people are always gonna go back to last year for the Katie Taylor fight when they offered you more than that to fight Katie. You walked away from that so that you could go to a Jake Paul and fight a Mercado who obviously isn't the level of a Katie Taylor, and it all looks a certain way. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to jump in a bed with Jake Paul because he'll pay you to fight people that don't stand a chance. Mercado never stood a chance in that fight. And anybody that has seen her, they know that.
But hasn't Katie Taylor versus people who haven't stood a chance? She fought Jennifer Han in her last fight. And no respect to Han, Jennifer, she was 6 months old giving birth. She'd had one fight in 3 years, and she was jumping up 2 weight classes. So all these girls are doing it. The only reason why it's more covered when Katie Taylor does it is because her promotion and setup have allowed her to do that from day one.
And this is where we disagree. Jennifer Han wasn't a handpick. Jennifer became, and I put this on the IBF because they made her the mandatory. Why? I don't know. But I knew that Jennifer was the mandatory by way of the IBF. Mm-hmm. I believe Estelle Mosley is also close to being a mandatory. I forgot who the next mandatory is because Katie obviously she has all the belts. She has 4 belts, 4 mandatories. Jennifer Han was the IBF's mandatory challenger. Why they made that decision, I'm not sure. But Jennifer wasn't a handpick. Now, Yami, yeah, that's a handpick. I saw that Michaela Mayer months ago. This was months ago. She offered not a legitimate offer, not a contract, not a term sheet, but she expressed an interest in facing Amanda. We know Amanda and Michaela, they're only one division apart. Amanda right now is at 126, though she has been a champion at 130. Michaela's at 130. And I'm like, well, see, those are the kind of fights that the American boxing scene doesn't have. The American boxing scene doesn't know Jamie or Erica that well. They don't. But they know Michaela. They know Amanda. And if you put them in the same ring, okay, now you're cooking with rice. And that fight here, for example, could have the same effect that the Pursoon fight had for Katie, that like, yo, they might not be all that familiar, but if you put them together and it's a good fight, people are going to get on board, because Delphine Pursoon was a bad motherfucker long before that Katie Taylor fight. She's a bad motherfucker. People didn't know her, though. She has the fight, and it benefits her because she got good money from that fight, and now, unlike before, she has a name. People know her. Like, if you say Baumgartner versus Pursoon, oh, I know Pursoon. I know what she could do. If you say Tiaria Brown versus Pursoon, oh, I know Pursoon. I know what she could do. And that's how you get the ball rolling. Whereas if you don't have those fights, that, yeah, it's risky, it's dangerous, but those is the fights, it's always going to be the same way. The American boxing scene for women is nowhere near as beneficial as the United Kingdom's. In the United Kingdom, you have two major platforms in DAZN and Sky that have a female stable of fighters. Here in America, Michaela's with Top Rank, Clarissa's with Salita. That's it. And no, and there's whole oceans of girls that don't have a platform deal. Whereas over there, Ebony Jones, the girl named Georgia, Savannah, April Hunter, they're gonna be boxing on Sky. Carolyn Dubois, they're gonna be boxing on Sky.
To be fair, up until 2 weeks ago, Sky was DAZN. Sky Matchroom DAZN was all one thing. These new girls that have come through, it's only been literally in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, they're gonna get their shine. But prior to before that, let's just go back to last month. There was one stable in the UK, which was Matchroom, which covered DAZN, Sky, and Matchroom. There was just one stable. And no doubt there was more opportunities for girls in the UK than there was America. But at the same time, there still wasn't masses of opportunities for girls in the United Kingdom. And going back to the point of America, so yeah, you had Top Rank had Michaela Mayer, Salita had Clarissa Shields. Other girls out there looking to put on big fights, they're not going to get paid for it. Tiara Brown, Alicia Baumgartner, they're talking of fighting now. And I'm hoping that they can get a decent purse for that. Because if your name's not Clarissa Shields or Michaela Mayer, it's unlikely you're going to get paid out there. And for what Amanda's done, I can see why she's saying at this point in her career, you know what, let me take some money fights with Jake Paul. Let me get my money up, because Clarissa's been doing it. She's established. Michaela May is not even as established as Amanda, but she's out here getting paid. Let me get paid. Let me make some money. It's not got to be a hard fight every fight along the way. If you look at Katie Taylor's career, she's had fights in there which you'd expect her to win. It wasn't always going to be a 50-50. You expect her to win. She had those career-building fights up. Not every one of Katie Taylor's 17 fights has been
this. I think this is the difference, because I've been watching Katie and Clarissa since they went pro, since 2016, right? While your point is valid, that Katie's been in fights where you knew she was going to win, like the Victoria Bustos fight. I knew she was going to win that fight, but I also knew, well, Victoria is the IBF champion. She's been a professional boxer longer than Katie. It's about as good a matchup as you can ask for. Like, how could you complain that she's fighting a champion after having already fought Anais Sanchez, who was also a WBA champion? She lost the title on the scales right before the fight, but all the same, ahead of the fight when they signed the contracts, she was the champion. And the way I look at it is, yes, there were fights that you knew Katie's going to win. There were fights like that. But there were close calls also, like the Lenarda 2 fight. I never thought that was going to be easy. The McCaskill fight, I never thought that was going to be easy. The Pursoon fight, never thought that. I knew that those fights, those is risky fights. The Jonas fight, that wasn't easy, but she took that on. Like, Natasha's not little for super featherweight. Natasha looked like, yo, if she could go to 140 if she wanted to, because she got meat on them bones. She could go to 40. She could fight at 35. She's good at 30, but she's big enough that, yeah, she could go to 35 and still have punching power. And when she fought Katie, we seen that punching power. When Tasha land, it looked different than when Katie land. So I see one fighter, hasn't been around that long, been around since 2016, has been involved in more close calls than the other. Whereas I look at Amanda and I see things that it's like, yo, they would never let they would never let Katie get away with that. Nah. Silva and then Santana, nah, they would never let her get away with that. They'd be all over for that.
Another point I want to address on that is, of course, look who's behind Katie Taylor. She can get the best opponents with the best records, with the best window dressing stats to make her record and reservoir look as good as it is. If you look at Matchroom Formula, with what they've done with Katie Taylor, they're doing with Conor Benn. If you look at Conor Benn's record, it looks pretty solid. He's not on the same level, but he's got notable opposition, a noteworthy name, someone who formed a world champion, someone who fought for a title. They built him up in a way like they built up in Katie Taylor, where her resume is gonna look good. She's got all the money behind her. Serrano ain't got that kind of backing behind her. Now that she's got the backing behind her, she can start building herself in that kind of way. Where beforehand, I don't think Lou DeBell was putting up that much money for her to be getting these big opponent names. And she wasn't going to be able to get a Christina Lindato. She wasn't going to be able to get a Delphine Pursuit. She wasn't going to be able to
this, and we're going to disagree on this because I see Daniela Bermudez, for example. Daniela Bermudez before the Serrano fight. This woman fought Tigresa Acuña. This woman went to Mexico to fight Barbie Juarez, right? It wasn't a huge purse, but those fights happened. I look at Melissa Hernandez, Jelena Marjanovic. They had 2 wars, right? They wasn't getting paid buku dollars to have them wars. And I think about all these different girls like Kika Chavez, Jessica Bob, all these girls that they've been there and done that with a lot of the good fighters. And they didn't use the purse as an excuse not to fight. Kika done fought damn near everybody. She beat Jessica. She had, up until recently, she had the only recorded victory over Jessica Bob. She beat her years ago, right? And it's like all these other girls from all around the world, they not throwing that pity party or didn't play that pity party to be like, well, nah, I ain't going to fight this person because the bread not there. Well, this person fought this person, and that was a risky ass. Like Daniela Bermudez going to Mexico to fight Juarez. Yeah, that's risky as fuck. You did not have to do that. That's risky as fuck. Maiva Hamadouche went to Belgium for the motherfucking Pursoon fight. That's risky as fuck. And if Delphine is not enough of a threat to you, the home field advantage is. But she still went. She still had to fight. Wasn't nothing about purses involved in the shit. So I see, okay, all other girls been fighting all these years. All these other girls been fighting. All of them. Even Brodnitska. Her people won the purse bid for the Ramona Cohen fight when Ramona had the WBO title. And they hit the gas like, nah, we want that fight. Ramona vacated.
I hear that. A lot of these girls, they'll put in mad shifts, taking on big fights, limited cash, limited resources around. Baby Juarez, Jessica Bock. These girls, they put the work in, they put the hours in for boxing, for women's boxing to get it where it is. For us to be sitting here talking about it and respecting it, yeah, they did that. But what's wrong with a female coming in and saying, do you know what? Let's now start getting paid for this. I'm going to start putting myself, and not an unrealistic price, but I'm going to start asking for money for these fights because all these girls, they should really and truly be getting paid more. So when you got the likes of someone like Katie Taylor and Carissa Shields come in, who straight away from the beginning of their career, they get put at the top of the ladder and the top of the pay scale. What's wrong with other girls who've been there, who've been on the scene before these girls now saying, do you know what? I can match these girls. I want to get paid with these girls. I think that Jessica Bopp, Juarez, Baby Juarez, they all deserve to be paid more. But it's for them to put themselves out there to say, do you know what? We're not fighting for change. Delphine Pursued, I ain't fighting for change. Hamadouche, I'm not going to Belgium fight for change. I want some real money from this. So what Amanda Serrano is doing is that not elevating the women's sport by saying, let's make a stand, let's get paid.
I think because I've had millions upon millions of conversations about this, right? And a lot of people feel that it's virtue signaling when she says it, right? Because the stance that she's taking is, okay, well, you know, I've been around this long and I deserve to get paid this much. But you're talking about that in reference to yourself. What do you pay your opponents? It only seems to be, I'm going to take a stand when Eddie Hearn is involved. That's when you want to take a stand. The rest of the time, you cool fighting for them purses. You cool with that. Now, we see what happened last year, that she walked away. It was a career high purse. It was supposed to be, I've been given different numbers, a little under 300,000 to a little over. I'll just ballpark it around there. Little under, little over 300,000, which is more than she just made for the Mercado fight and more than she made for the Bermudez fight. So if you're offered a career high purse and you don't have the fanfare to generate these monies yourself here in this country, it's not that you're being deprived of opportunity. You chose the path of least resistance. You're choosing to take a slower route, because if it was about getting at the bread, they offered you the bread. They offered you the bread, and you didn't like the circumstances. Both Katie and Amanda would have had to fly out. Katie's up there in New York State. I believe she's in the Catskills, right? Somewhere up there in New York State, upstate New York. Amanda's in a city in Bushwick, I believe. It's Bushwick where she at, in Brooklyn. So it's like y'all coming from the same spot. You know what I mean? You know who's financing the fight. You know where the money's coming from. And it is a career high purse that even now you can't really duplicate. The recorded purses for the fight is something to the tune of $70,000. I believe she got a little more than that. Maybe he rounded it up for her, got her to 100,000, because I heard that he put more on top of what she was going to get. But even with that, okay, so you got maybe 100,000 the most. You could have got 3 of those fighting Katie. If you choose to walk away from that, people not going to pity you for it, because then it's not about what you're saying. You was offered good money, better money than is out there, better money than any of all these other girls out there is getting. It's not about what you're saying. When you walk away from that for the path of least resistance, they're like, oh, well I'm going to go over here and I'm going to fight Diana Santana, who I knocked out already, by the way, who's on a losing streak for 20 G's. People going to look at that and say, nah, you know what it is? It's not even the bread. It's that you didn't want to know. You didn't want to know what would happen with y'all.
Okay, let's look at it from Amanda's understanding and know her value, saying this is what I believe I'm worth. Same way Clarissa Shields says, I ain't fighting Savannah Marshall, put $1 million on the table, and then we're talking business. Same thing in reference to what Amanda Serrano's doing. So she's saying, Eddie Hearn's been saying Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, that's going to be the Super Bowl of women's boxing. That's going to be the biggest fight for women's boxing. The past generation, the new generation, it's going to be all of that. She understands that. She knows that. She knows what Katie Taylor's getting paid. She knows what Matchroom have thrown to offer around. So if you're willing to call this the biggest fight of women's boxing, the Super Bowl of women's boxing, then why can't you hold yourself at a higher price tag? Same way Clarissa Shields is saying, I'm not fighting Savannah Marshall for 400K, I want $1 million. Is it not the same story as that? Is that not the exact same thing?
Now, this is why I would say it's different. Clarissa, unlike Amanda, even though that very recently changed, by the way, because I just got the notification from ESPN that Amanda just signed to Jake Paul, like he's her promoter now. So the difference I see with Clarissa and Amanda is Clarissa actually had a network deal. You know, she had a Showtime deal. And now she's got the PFL thing for the MMA, right? She's got that. And she's got Sky and Boxer in the UK. So you are in a position to say that, like, yeah, dog, I'm there. I got multi-fight deals. You can't just pay me whatever. I got a deal, feel me? Whereas Amanda's situation was always more unstable. So you look at what's on the table for you. They offer you, let's say, 300 G's. Can you get them 300 G's anywhere else? Nah.
She can't.
Now, wait a minute. Now, if you walk away because you're saying that, oh, well, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to get my marquee value up, it's not that you can't do that. You could do that. But just remember, you're the one that walked away. It's the onus. The onus to make the fight is on the people that got the money. Did the people that have the money, did they offer you peanuts? No, they offered you more than you've ever made and more than you've made even afterwards. They offered you more than that. If that wasn't good enough, you could say it's not good enough and walk away. But if you do, the fight fell apart because of you. Because what are they supposed to give you? Especially in the thick of a pandemic. There's no audience. There's no gate revenue. And I saw a lot of cats, like, if you remember last year, even the Lomachenko versus Lopez fight was in jeopardy because of that, because the money got cut. Like, it's not as much money because there's no people. If you want to do it and we want to do it, it got to be behind closed doors in a bubble. You can't get the same bread. There's no people. Similar situation there where it's like, look, yeah, they fighting in Eddie Hearn's fucking backyard because everything else is shut down. If you want to do the fight, this is how we do it. Now, if you don't want to do the fight, hey, cool. Don't do the fight then. But just remember, you're the one that walked away. You're not being lowballed because you've been offered a career high purse. This is more money than you made before, and it's still more money than you're making now. It's not a lowball. It's kind of like the situation I see with Lopez and Kambosos. And when that situation kicked off, I was one of the first people that said that this is not good because that's not a $6 million fight. This is a business, right? Okay, that is not a $6 million fight. I'm sorry, it's not. I'm a consumer. My role in all of this is looking at that product and asking myself, would I purchase that for 60, for 50? And I'm looking at like, look, the average person does not want to pay that for a fight of that caliber. If it were fucking Lopez versus Taylor or Lopez versus Lomachenko too, hell yeah. But Lopez Kambosos. So when I saw that they threw that $6 million in the pot, I'm like, how the fuck do they plan on getting it back? Pay-per-view? That's not a pay-per-view. And that's the situation here to where, yes, you're a good fighter. You're accomplished. But your marquee value is your marquee value. Your market value, that's your market value, which is like Rigo. Rigo was once the most feared man at 122 pounds. Nobody would touch him. But his marquee value was what it was. That directly relates to how much money your fanfare generates, not your ability to box.
So Amanda Serrano, in that position, she saw what was being offered, and she said to herself, "Do you know what? I'm gonna up my marquee value. I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna become undisputed and give you guys a reason to pay me more. Because yeah, let's just say it was 300K. I think I'm worth more than that. And from a business sense, you got to rate what she's done because she's went away. She picked up a win against Daniel Bermuda. She is now signed with Jake Paul. Now, if this fight happens in March, whatever she's been offered, she's getting way more than 300K, 300 bags. So you really got to look at what she's done and actually admire that and be like, you know what? You made the right call. Because if you took that fight back then in Eddie Hearn's back garden and it got capped at 300K, you're not going to be getting anything close to what you're getting now with Jake Paul, your promoter, and fighting on the show at Madison Square Garden now. So did it not work out? Did she not make the right decision in the end?
I agree that it was a good move, but I don't agree with the method. And what I mean by the method is after things fell apart, there was a smear campaign. I remember there was a smear campaign after the fight fell apart. They were demonizing the Hearn, Matchroom, Taylor people for all that shit. And it's like, look, if you're just honest and say, I don't want to do the fight right now, people will respect that. But when you say that there's a pay cut and it turns out, no, there's no pay cut, you're getting your full purse. She's taking a pay cut so that you can get your full purse. It then becomes, okay, who wants to fight and who don't want to fight? Because that's what the consumers are seeing. That's what the fans are seeing, that you went to the media and you told them that they were going to cut your purse. And that's why you didn't do the fight. Turns out, no, they were not going to cut your purse. You were going to get all your bread. The bread that you agreed to when you came into this deal is the bread you're going to get. And they've gone as far as suggesting that this girl's going to take a pay cut to ensure that you get that bread. It then becomes, okay, why are you being dishonest then? Why are you demonizing them? They're making this possible. They're pouring money into these divisions and actually giving these girls something to fight for. The lightweight division, they was happy to stay away from each other. Bustos, Sanchez, Persoon, fucking I forgot who Vellante got the WBO from, but they was happy to stay away from each other. They weren't going to unify. It wasn't until these people came along and injected this money into these weight classes, and I'm glad they're doing it at bantamweight too, because bantamweight is actually better than super featherweight. Most people don't realize it. It's better than super featherweight. It's better than lightweight. There's a million fucking fights you could make, right? I'm glad they came along and poured that money in there, because what we have to ask ourselves is, if there was no Matchroom and there was no Katie Taylor and, no Clarissa Shields for her divisions, right? If these women didn't come along, where would the sport be now? It wouldn't be where it's at, right? We wouldn't be talking about this. It'd just be what it was. They wouldn't be earning the kind of money that they get. And those possibilities was not there 7, 8, 10 years ago. They wasn't there. So don't tell me.
Not even 5 years ago. Not even 5.
Really not. Not even. Well, Regina Helmick, Cecilia Brake. They was getting money. Like Regina Helmick was making
very few.
Yeah, like it was far and few, but you know what I mean? So when I see that, I'm like, you trying to tell people that these cats is the bad guys in all of this, and for anybody that's watching it, it's like, nah, bruh, how they the bad guys? They bringing all the money to the shit. Maybe it's just that what you want exceeds your market value, and they're not gonna give you that, because that's how most people are. Look, Bob was like, yo, you know what? If you want to go to Triller for that bread, Lopez, go ahead. If that's what you go ahead. because we're not going to give you that. That is not a $6 million fight.
But in that case, we could argue that Tio should have stayed with Bob for that fight. Should have stayed with Top Rank. Went over to Thriller. He's getting a bag load of money. Why can't other fighters? Why can't Amanda now do that? Why can't anybody else do that decision?
Well, see, that's that's the point that I'm making. I have maintained Teofimo made a mistake. I've always maintained that, even with the 6 million or whatever, the 3 million, all of that is a mistake. Why? If you would have let Top Rank do the fight at the price that they had, you would have fought already this year. It would have been done, and you would have been gearing up for a mega fight, regardless of which Taylor, maybe Lomachenko rematch towards the end of the year. You would have made more money overall. You would have got that 1.2 or whatever it was for the Cambosos. So you would have got that. But then at the end of the year, you could have a $3, $4, $5 million fight, something like that. The way
who would have known that Thriller was going to fumble it all over the place? Who was going to assume that?
Look, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not, but I'm being honest. I never trusted them because that doesn't make. I seen that 6 mil. I'm like, that makes no fucking sense, bro.
I did. It didn't.
And I saw that, and then I started reading up on Ryan Kavanaugh. Just where did he come from? Because it felt like he came from out of nowhere. Turns out he's a very high-profile Hollywood scam artist. Read a whole bunch of literature on. Yes, a very high-profile Hollywood scam artist. I see what's going on, and I read the article, a couple of tweets yesterday, did a video on it, that a part of the reason that George is acting the way that he's acting now is because he doesn't believe they have the money. We see that Jake Paul ended up going to Showtime. We see that Mike Tyson has not done an exhibition match since the Roy Jones fight, and that there was some trouble getting him the money that he was supposed to get. Eventually he got it, but he didn't get it right away. So it's kind of getting more and more obvious that Triller is like, bro, that outfit is, nah, bro, that Triller's no good. And you got in bed with these people because you didn't want to stop, humble yourself, and think, I can't ask for a big purse for what ain't a big fight. I can't. I can't. I want what? 2 and 3 and 4 for this guy? Where's the money supposed to come from? It's not a big fight. You know what I mean? If you want to renegotiate your contract, it's like it's little things that I'm like, look, if he would have just let Top Rank do the fight on ESPN, they would have took care of that shit at the beginning of the year. He would have got it done, get it over with. Then at the end of the year, maybe you have a pay-per-view that maybe gets you more than 6, maybe it gets you 7 or 10. But the way you did it, you went all in with these people that you don't know. And now look at the shit. It's been a year since the Lomachenko fight. It's been a year.
Over
all this moving. It's the Lomachenko fight was in October of last year. They want to do the shit. They want to do the shit on the 16th of October. That's a year. And the worst shit is, okay, they are talking about defaulting. If they default, you don't get a little over 3 mil like you was gonna get. It'll then go to Matchroom. If it goes to Matchroom, you get 2. If it goes to Matchroom. If Eddie lets it go back to Top Rank, okay, now you just get what you was gonna get from the get-go, and you lost the year for no fucking reason. It's like, yo, dog, you should have just let Top Rank do the fight. But you, like Amanda, which is the conversation we're having, you overestimated your marquee value. It's working out for Amanda for what it's worth. It's the divisiveness that I never agreed with. It's the divisiveness. Like, look, if you're honest and upfront, you say, I don't want to do this fight now with no crowd in your lawn in the middle of a pandemic. If this is the Super Bowl of women's boxing, then it deserves better than that. If you come out with that, motherfuckers can't help but agree with you. But that's not what they came out with. They came out with, oh, they trying to cut my purse in half. They bad, they evil. If they bad and evil, why you still waiting on them to pay you? You still waiting on them to pay you. If they so fucking evil, if he's the worst motherfucker ever, why are you relying on him to get you that bread? It don't add up. And I can't support that. So when I see Clarissa take the stance that she took, they're like, bro, I'm too good to be fighting on the undercard of an Instagram guy. I have my disagreements with Clarissa, but I applaud that because it's like, yeah, she right. She got 2 transatlantic TV deals. She's right. You ESPN in America, Sky in the UK. You are not reduced to trying to rub elbows with him and be friends and shit to get somewhere to get a little bit of bread. Like, I support it.
It's okay, but saying that rubbing shoulders with Jake Paul, in Jake Paul's last 2 fights, it's not just been Amanda Serrano and McCarley who've gotten opportunities. Haven't other boxers benefited and profited from being on Jake Paul's undercard? Hasn't Jake Paul plugged in a couple other prospects, a couple other fighters to get opportunities? People say Jake Paul's the clown, he's a circus show, but is he not turning out to be quite a useful ally to quite a lot of the boxers on the circuit right about now? Has he not offered career high paydays for quite a few boxers?
I won't judge him because I don't know. I'm not gonna judge him because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't see the benefit or the detriment. I've always maintained the money that he's making, he already had an audience. He's not hurting he's not hurting nobody. He already had an audience before he decided to box. So the people that buy his shit and fuck with him, those is the people that been fucking with him. He not taking food off nobody's plate. But as far as the benefit, I don't see the benefit yet.
He's putting food onto people's plate. Look at Montana Love. Look at Progress. They got decent paychecks for being on that card. Decent paychecks. These guys who ain't getting recognition, of course, after Progress lost to Taylor, he's not really been in the line that much. That fight put him back into recognition. Amanda Serrano is another one. Daniel Dubois from the UK got his debut out in America, got a good showing in. He's putting food on people's plate. He's definitely feeding guys. He's giving the opportunity out there. I think Amanda Serrano is probably the biggest case example because now they're working together. They'll be talking about the Katie Taylor fight. And that's going to be worth probably double what it was back in the day. So, yeah, he's putting food on people's plate.
This is the other angle of that. Ever since the fight fell apart, Eddie Hearn never blew it off. Like, even after the Delphine Persoon rematch, there was a graphic that was posted by Sky Sports. I saw it by way of social media. And Amanda Serrano was part of the graphic. It's like, why are we saying that Jake Paul is responsible for this when the financier is still Matchroom and they were never closed on the fight? Like, they never said, nah, fuck her. She just ain't never going to get the fight. They never said that. They've been saying it the whole time. Like, yeah, we want to do that fight. The fight didn't happen because of what we already discussed. But they never said, yeah, fuck her, man. We ain't going to do that fight. Fuck out of here. It's not like Jake Paul swooped in and changed. Like, nah, you didn't change because they was already trying to do the fight. And they've been trying to do the fight. Why are we attributing Jake to something that they was always trying to do anyway?
Because she's now negotiating a better deal for her. Now she can negotiate a deal on terms that she's more happy with, that she's more suited with. Whereas before, it was, let's say, the 300K. Now it could possibly be, say, for 600K. So she's happy. Sky get the fight. They've got the money. They're happy. Everyone can move forward from this fighting situation, win or lose. Everyone's happy and the business can get made. Before that, I don't think no disrespect to Lou Dubois, but I don't think he could have negotiated what Amanda wanted. I don't think he could have put across what she wanted and get it done. I think Jake Paul can. And if this fight now gets made, no doubt he was a factor in this conclusion or this element which was able to get this equation all sorted and done with. Jake Paul was the missing number. He was the missing figure, the missing link.
Man, I don't, look, the appearance on Ring, look. I honestly believe, and this is just me, her appearance on Ring City USA has more to do, at least for me, with her bargaining position than like I rate the Bermudez one. I don't really rate the Mercado one, but I rate Bermudez because Bermudez has fought a lot of fucking good people, and she's a good fight. Like, yeah, she was moving up in weight, but you saw before she got knocked out, like, yo, she's hanging in there and she's getting off shots. Mercado was a fish out of water. And I feel like appearing on Ring City USA, that's what heralded a bit more bargaining power than Jake. Because one, Matchroom was never close to the idea of doing the fight. Two, they knew that Amanda is pursuing Undisputed for more bargaining power. And they never blew her off. They never said, well, nah, that shit ain't going to work. They never said that. So why are we saying, yeah, it's because it's like, you sure it's because of Jake? Is Jake paying for the fight? Because if he ain't, then how is it because of him?
I hear that, but could Lou Dubois have come back and negotiated a better deal than what he did the first time round last year? If Lou Dubois was still her manager, would she have been able to get a better deal, and would the fight be a bit more closer to what it is now?
I would say that I attribute more of her success to Lou than Jake. Jake came in late. Like, look, the fights, or at least a portion of them, because she wasn't always with Lou, but Lou had his role to play in this. And Lou has done things for Amanda that helped her get to where she is right now.
Yeah,
we
no
can't
doubt.
say that because Jake came in. She's had one fight under, well, not even under the banner, but Jake is basically the end of the book almost, damn near. Like, he came in last. Lou was there before Jake, so we can't discount what Lou did.
No. I'm not discounting what Lou did because Lou got her. Lou has done 95% of the work to get her to where she is today. She just needed that last final bit to get over the finish line the way she wanted to finish it. And I think that's where Jake comes in and he can make that bit of difference. Lou got her the titles. Lou built her up. Lou got her fighting all over South America, United States of America. Lou put her in that position. Jake is going to carry the baton across the finish line with her and get her to that next superstar stage. That's what I feel. Lou DiBella, you know, sometimes with a trainer or a coach, and they can only do so much for you. You might be with your amateur coach for years, and they will tell you, yo, kid, I can only do so much for you. If you want to go into the big time, you're going to need to go to that guy who's up in the city who can change your life. And
I feel like you're talking about Rob Mccracken. I'm just going to say that. I feel like I feel like that's what this. I feel like that's what you're talking about. That's where you're going with this, and I want to talk about that too.
But you know the story effect that I'm going on. There's that one guy who can get you to. He can get you to the ceiling, but you need to get that next guy that'll take you to the roof. And I think Jake Paul will be that next guy to get Amanda Serrano through the roof. Because already, Jake Paul's calling out people like, what's her name? Amanda Nunes. She's talking about all these other top MMA fighters, Shevchenko. So she's putting her name in that mix. She's getting her name familiar. He's getting her name familiar with all those kind of big name lines like fighters.
Come on, Rag. You don't need Jake to get Shevchenko. Everybody knows Shevchenko. Everybody like her. Everybody know Amanda Munez. Bro, I don't even fucking like MMA, and I like Amanda Munez. Like, I love the girl. I love to watch her work.
She's putting her name in the bracket of them girls. Obviously, social media doesn't mean anything. But if you just look at Amanda Serrano's social media following since she's linked up with Jake Paul, it's gone up. Recognition's gone up. More casuals know about her. More people know about her. So it's not been a bad move. And it is.
Once again, it's not about it being a bad move because obviously if it works out the way she gets more money, it's obviously not a bad move. It's about accountability. You said that these people, hold on. You said that these people was bad people and all this stuff, but you're still relying on these people to provide the payday. So obviously what you were saying before, nah, and you changed your mind about the celebrity boxing matches and all of that shit. Because when it kicked off, you was against it. When it became convenient for you to benefit from it, oh, now you for it. Now you rubbing elbows with them. It's like,
fair, I think a lot of fight. To be honest, when Jake Paul first started doing his card and thriller, I would have thought Daniel Dubois, Tommy Fury, Ivan Redcheck, Progress. They would have all been like, this kid's a joke. This isn't serious. What is this? But when he started talking serious money, when he started talking serious opportunities that these traditional boxing promoters weren't handing out, then it's like, do you know what? Let's give this kid a shot because he's actually talking business, which these other promoters aren't. Is that not fair?
I think you're I don't know. It feels like you're overstating because now we're turning Jake into the martyr.
No.
We are. We're elevating him to martyrdom that he came here to die for our gum shields. He came here to die, for our hand. Like, hold up. Hold up. Regis made good money in the World Boxing Super Series, and I don't think that he made more money fighting Red Catch than he made fighting Taylor, or than he made.
Because Taylor was for a unified championship fight. His fight with Red Catch, the fact that he even came in the margin of what it came for fighting Taylor, just goes to show that he got for fighting a guy who's in the top 15. He got the same amount of money roughly that he got for fighting for a unified title. So.
Wait, what was? Look, I don't know what his purse was for that Red Catch fight. I'm gonna assume that it was maybe a few $100,000, maybe $1 million. It's hard to imagine somebody gave him $1 million to fight Red Catch.
Let's say just on the lower side of $500,000 to get on the lower side of $500,000 for fighting Red Catch in a non-title fight.
That's not bad. It's not bad,
nice.
But it's more like I feel like it's being overstated. Like yeah, there's global warming. Yes, global warming is a thing, but let's not act like that's our biggest problem. We got bigger problems than global warming. Yes, Jake is helping. I'm not saying that he's not helping. He's helping in his own way, but I feel like that's being overstated. When it comes to Amanda, yes, he might be helping that situation because Eddie Hearn himself said that he spoke to him. Said he spoke to the guy, very bright young man. They're going to see if they could do the fight. But I think it's all the other stuff before that led us here. we can't just say, "Oh yeah, Jake made the fight
Oh, no.
happen." Jake made
No.
the fight happen. Is he paying
Okay.
for the fight?
Do you know? No, not at all. But unfortunately, that's how it does go. It's normally the guy who does the last 5% or 10% of the job will unfortunately get the praise for it. When you're watching athletics, the relay race, it's the last guy that takes the baton over the line. He's the guy that everyone gets the attention, the media like lining to. That's unfortunately what it is. I'm not going to write off Lou DeBell because Lou DeBell did a fantastic job with Amanda over the last 9 years, especially during a time where women's boxing wasn't even recognized and women were out here fighting for 1K for world title fights. He did a banging job getting it to where he is now. But now that we're in a different time, now that we're in a different age and promotion is different, Jake's gonna take the baton for the last 100 yards and he's gonna sprint over the line in pole position.
I want to ask you about this super chat. In my opinion, Anthony Joshua should leave Rob Mccracken for someone like Buddy McGirt or Shane McGuigan. What do you feel about that, Rack?
Well, you know, yeah, I can see both sides of it because when fighters lose a fight, the first thing they say is, "Oh, switch trainer, go to another camp, leave him. They're not doing no good for you." But sometimes they just got it wrong on the day. That trainer knows you better than anyone. That trainer's had you for 22 fights. Like, he can read you like the back of his hands. So I don't think it's always right just to feel when you lose, jump ship. Maybe go back to the team and switch it up. On the other hand, seeing as Joshua's been with him for some time, since an amateur up until now, maybe like Lou DeBell, he's taken Anthony to his ceiling. Maybe if Anthony wants to go through the ceiling now, he needs that last guy for the last section of his career just to take him through the roof, just to take him through the ceiling. So it's what Anthony feels within himself. If he feels that he can come again with Rob and bring something completely different to the table, then yeah, you stay with Rob because you know each other like family. But if you feel you can't get anything out of Rob and Rob can't get anything out of you and you're at a standpoint, then yeah, maybe look at other trainers. Maybe switch it up completely and go over to the United States. Buddy McGirt, even Virgil Hunter, not Virgil Hunter. What's the Andre Ward's trainer?
Yeah, I would not send him to Virgil. I agree with, I just like, and I don't got nothing against Virgil, but I just would not. No. I would go Buddy McGirt because Buddy knows how to add things, make fighters that have already competed at a certain level better or good enough. Because look, I thought Kovalev was going to get his ass beat again in that later Alvarez. He won. I was shocked. Like, he just took, just box, bro. Just box. Stop trying to kill him. Just box. Callum, he looked, dog, the last thing I expected was for him to knock that dude out like that. 2 rounds. I was not expecting that. That dude done fought Bivol, Brown. He been around. He's a big kid. Knocked his ass out. I would go McGirt.
Hold.
I would go McGirt or Ismail Salas. But I don't think I think Salas is like look, you're fighting an Olympic athlete. That's what you're up against. An Olympian like yourself. That guy has the track record to give you the game plan that you need to beat this guy. I don't think Rob is a bad trainer. I don't know why people do that, and that's just boxing. That's just the nature of the beast. That, oh, now Rob is not a good trainer. Who the fuck got him to them 3 world titles? Who helped him win him back? What you mean he not a good trainer? Feel me? Like, I hate seeing that shit. Like, bro, like, he didn't. Rob was there to help him get all them belts. You understand that, right? That when he became what he became, it was with Rob. So no, Rob is not a bad trainer. Though I do agree, maybe now you need more than he can give you. You need something else. The ambiance has to change because you've plateaued. You're not growing anymore. Even though I don't even feel right saying that because look, when Ruiz beat him, oh, his career's over. Career's over. It's a wrap. I'm like, yo, dog, like, because of one fucking fight, it's all over. That's it. Oh, he'll never rebound. He wins the fucking rematch. Who helped him win the fucking rematch? It wasn't Rob. That just happened on its own. I hate that. Like, I hate that fucking shit. Like, bro, like, get out of here. Like, Rob's not a bad trainer.
It's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast in this sport, You be undefeated for 23 fights, pick up 3 world titles, you lose one. That trainer's garbage. That trainer's trash. Like,
exactly.
The style of boxing, unfortunately, or combat, unfortunately, it'd be like that. But
yeah, it's bad takes. So I'm like, look, I don't know that he should leave Rob altogether. What if you do Salas for the Usyk fight? Because look, Joe Joyce done been with Sanchez, done been with Salas. I think he went to Adam Booth for a little while. He had like more than one trainer. Maybe for this Usyk fight, you need Salah, so you need McGirt. Maybe that's what you do for that fight. Then you go back with your man Rob and y'all proceed as planned. You know what I mean? It don't gotta be a split. But I'm like, yo, the shit that they talking about this kid, it's amazing, bro. Like, yo, that dude's a good fighter, bro. Don't like Anthony Joshua was a good fighter, bro. It's just Usyk was a better fighter. It is what it is. He's a fucking southpaw. That's already a bit. He's a southpaw. He's a fucking gold medalist. He undisputed at cruiserweight. He done come up against all these different styles. He's same birthday as Muhammad Ali. He's a Capricorn like me, Josh Taylor, Foreman, Frazier, Custom Motto, and Floyd Patterson.
Jake Paul.
Like you have to do that, bro. Like Shannon O'Connell, all right? Like Raven Chapman,
Buddy McGirt, Custom Motto, Antonio Barrera.
You know what I'm saying? Like Felix Trinidad, like bro, like that's the cloth. Like that's the motherfucking cloth right there, B. I'm saying now I want to ask you about this Taylor and I don't understand the move. I don't really know what the fuck they're thinking. Taylor Robinson versus Shannon O'Connell. Why the fuck are they doing that fight? Shannon is beating the shit out of everything right now. Why are they doing that fight?
You know, I speak to Shannon about that one. And so what was meant to happen is they was meant to have a rematch with Neeks. So the first fight was on Neeks' promoter's show. Of course, Shannon got the win. And then Neeks' team, they wanted the rematch. So for a while, it was on BoxRec that they both had a fight pending on that day, but it wasn't linked to each other. And Shannon was saying they just needed to sign a contract. Then put it through. So Neeks' team was saying, yeah, the fight's going to happen, we're going to happen. We're just waiting. Then as it happens in boxing, it doesn't happen. For whatever reason, she takes another opponent. I think she's due to fight sometime next year. So in this period of time, it was either a case of stay inactive, or have a fight.
No, look, it's not even Shannon I'm talking about. Like, I understand Shannon taking the fight. I'm thinking, why are Taylor's people putting her in that fight? Like, are they like? She's not ready for that fight. I don't think she's ready for that fight.
She's 3-0, right? The 3-0 girl. Like, they think she's ready. I think she won like a Commonwealth medal or something. They think she's ready. They got high hopes for her. They think she's gonna be something special. So they're saying, you know what? We think she can take out the veteran Heron today. So Shannon's like, cool. She's 3-0. Nothing that I've not seen before. But they seem to think she's got some sauce. She's got some juice to her. So we'll see. I thought.
What do you think, dog? What do you think, dog? Do you see that she has the? Look, I've watched her. I think she has a ceiling to become a great, great fighter. But this fight right now, I don't know why they doing that shit.
Right now, I have no idea why they're taking that fight without no building block steps. Even look at her opponent. Who she fought up until now? Barely any positive records out of those 3 fights. But she wants to fight a former world title challenger and hold her. So I don't know. I can't see it.
Bianca,
maybe they've seen something. What I can put it down to, they've seen something in the gym that they're banking on comes to light.
They seeing that same shit Mikey Garcia thought he saw with fucking Errol Spence. You're like, I see something. You, I don't know what you see, but I don't see it. I see a loss. You gonna be the 4th undefeated fighter in the last 2 years that she beat. Bianca Almere, Kylie Fulmer, Sugar Neeks, Taylor Robinson. Shannon O'Connell versus Shannon Courtenay. We talked about this yesterday. What do you think about that fight?
I would think, I've always been an advocate for Shannon O'Connell because from her experience and what she's done, and the fact that she doesn't look like she's slowing down, that's a key factor as well. I think someone pointed that out, that she is coming up to her late 30s, but she don't look like she's slowing down. Her last fight, she went the distance with Neeks and didn't look out of it at all. And Neeks is meant to be in her prime years. So if she still carries that performance over, I think she beats Shannon. Looking at Shannon Courtenay, looking at Courtney's resume, who is she beating? Who has she been in with? Who is she beating? Like, it's very hard to put her case across. I think Taylor Robertson versus Shannon Courtenay is a more level fight.
I agree. Yes, I agree. Because I think I don't know a lot about Taylor's amateur background, but it's my understanding she was a very good amateur. It's my understanding that Shannon doesn't have a deep amateur background. She has a few fights. That's an even matchup. But Shannon is a champion now, and she got to behave like one. So if O'Connell come knocking, you got to do what you got to do. The WBA not gonna order that fight though. They know what they're doing because by all rights, they should have ordered it already. They should have ordered it.
The fight between Meeks and O'Connell should have been for the WBA bantamweight title.
Yeah,
not Bridges and Courtney.
I agree. It's just that I saw it was supposed to be Maureen Shea versus Ebony Bridges. Something happened to Maureen Shea. This was in the pandemic, and Maureen couldn't do the fight. So the title shot went to Bridges, and then we know what happened after that. From Bridges, it went to Bridges versus Ball, then Bridges versus Courtney. That's how all of that basically broke down.
So
but essentially,
Maureen Shea was she was meant to get the title shot. It was meant to be her title shot.
I believe it was her title shot because I know it was supposed to be them that was supposed to fight. It was supposed to be Maureen Shea and Ebony Bridges fighting for the WBA, which even in hindsight, it does make a little more sense if it would have been Neeks versus O'Connell because we'll look at their records. They have more fights. They've been around longer. It should have been Neeks versus O'Connell, but it is what it is. Welcome to boxing. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what else. What's another? So you don't think that Anthony Joshua should sack Rob Mccracken?
I think it's a hard one. It's a case of what Joshua feels and what he knows inside. I don't know what's inside dude's head. I don't know how he's feeling with Rob and whether he feels like he's hit a ceiling. If he feels like he's hit a ceiling, then yeah, it's time to go. If he feels in that fight he came up short and he just didn't do what he could have done, then no, you stay with your guy and you work through it. A lot of people say since the Ruiz fight, Joshua's not been as gun shy as he used to be. He ain't trying to fight no more like he did before. He's scared of getting knocked out. If that really is the case, and the setting that he's in right now, he's a bit too comfy, yeah, maybe he needs to move stateside, get thrown with some dogs and sparring, and just get that dog out of him again, how he used to have it before. Because a reserve trying to calculate Joshua, he's never going to outbox him.
Yeah.
He's never going to outbox. We need that same dog that he had against Klitschko, where he's going to come out, put himself at risk, and go tick for tack and try and get Usyk that way. That's the best way I can think of. Like what Chisora did to Usyk. Chisora just pressed Usyk. He didn't care. I might not win the rounds, but I'm going to come for you. If Joshua,
you know what the thing with Derek's approach has a lot to do with Derek, and he's always been that way though. Even since the Fury fight, that was his first loss. The Fury fight, he's always like he's gonna bull rush you. That's what he's gonna give you the bum's rush, and I think that works for Derek, but I don't know that Anthony Joshua could. I just don't know that he could do that. I don't know that he has the gas tank for it.
He ain't got the chin. No, well, yeah, he ain't got the gas tank for that, and he ain't got the chin for that. Because I've seen Chisora get hit. The second fight with Fury, he was just getting plastered. Yeah, the second fight on the front run, he was getting plastered and pelted. They had to call the fight off because he was getting so beat up. Yeah. I believe Joshua by that point would have went down.
Yeah,
he would have not be able to get back up. Chisora's got a better chin than Joshua.
If he was getting hit clean like that, obviously, like I think we both agree he could stand to be more aggressive in the rematch. He can. Yeah. Like he needs to get off, and he needs to get off first. He needs to stop waiting and stop fencing with the little man. You got to use your size and apply pressure. But it's easier said than done because I just don't think he has the gas tank for that shit.
Nah,
he just don't have it.
He ain't got the gas tank as physical as Chisora over 12 rounds, not at all.
Well, hopefully it's not 12 rounds, you know what I mean? Hopefully you fucking get the guy out of there so that you don't have to go 12 because he don't have what I saw in that fight is he doesn't have the gas tank for a sustained attack. He could be a pure boxer, stay behind his jab, move around the ring. He could do those things. He could be a boxer puncher, set up the right hand with the jab. He could do that. But a pressure fighter, to stay on top of a guy, keep punching, keep throwing, round after round, he don't got the gas tank for that. No. And that's what you need to beat this guy. You can't be cat and mouse with him. That's what he want. You can't be cat and mouse. You got to get at him, go after him. And I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen in the rematch.
But don't you think what he could have done in the fight? Don't you think he could have let his right go? Don't you think he could have let his hands go a bit? He was trying to box Usyk from the outside, but don't you still think he could have thrown a few more 1-2s, a few more straight rights?
No, yeah. I think
he could have put it on a bit more because I think he was a bit reserved. And
no, he 100. Like I don't know why. I thought that he would. And I've said this 100 times. I thought that he knew Usyk knows how to keep his head off the line, so he'll jab at his chest. instead because that's what you're supposed to do. Jab at the chest. He can't move his torso off the line. He keep his head off the line. So jab at his chest and jab at his body. That's what I thought he was gonna do. I thought he was just gonna switch it up. Like, all right, I'm gonna jab up top here, and I'm gonna jab 2 times at his chest. And the whole time you could bring over the right hand, and at the same time, if the jabs are landing to his gut, you could take something out of his legs because he'll get tired. That's what I thought he was gonna do. He didn't do that. He kept. It looked like he was headhunting. Like, yo, why do you keep trying to hit him in the face? He's out of range, bro. Like, you're not gonna hit him with that. So yeah, he could throw more, but I don't think he could do what Derek did. You don't have the gas tank for that.
No,
Derek kept coming the whole fight. You do that, you'll gas out and get stopped.
Unfortunately.
I like the kid. I think he's a great boxer. I think he's great for boxing, but I know his limitations, and you can't. A sustained attack over 12, you'll gas out in 3 or 4. You'll gas.
If not a sustained attack, then I still definitely think he should still up the work rate, up the punches, throw a few more solids. Because in that time, they were just standing off, and Usyk was just picking the jabs, little counter hooks here and there. Joshua was almost not scared to throw, but he didn't want to throw. It's like he was reserving himself to the end. And when it came to the end, he still didn't throw. So I'd just like to see a bit more of an upwork from Joshua. Even if it's not just a Zoro pressure, which I don't expect, just take a few more chances. You know, when it comes to the last 8, 9, 10, 11 rounds of a fight, and you know you're probably losing on scorecards, I feel then fighters should put themselves out there a bit more. They should throw it on the line. Like, I'm gonna lose this, so I gotta go out one way or another. Like, we gotta win this fight.
I feel like the reason that he didn't throw more, Usyk took the right hand away. You could tell because Joshua couldn't really touch him with the jab. If you don't touch him with the jab, the right hand ain't gonna come behind it. And I feel like, instead of trying to set up the right, just focus on touching him with the left. Just touch him with the left. You'll look busy. If nothing else, you'll look busy.
Looking busy, yeah. Do you know, that's why in all these fights, like, do you know who I rate? A legend who I rate? Bernard Hopkins. Because he don't care if he's got to make this fight look like garbage. If this fight's going to look like trash, it's going to look like trash and I'm going to get the win. And I think a lot of fights, sometimes, don't worry if it's going to look garbage. Hold on to him. Pull him into you. Push his head down. You look busy. Because if you're doing that and he's not throwing back and you're putting off his game plan, it wins rounds. And even
legendary Capricorn, Bernard Hopkins. That's another Team Capricorn alumni. Bernard Hopkins, like, yo, dog, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to win. If I gotta make this shit a fucked up looking fight, then that's just what the fuck I gotta do.
Like, even Wilder Fury too. It was at points that Fury was just leaning on Wilder. He saw he was tired. He saw he needed a rest. So I'm gonna put my big old self on you and just press you against the ropes, and that's gonna tie you up. That's why when they have the comparison of AJ and Fury, I think Fury just has more variation to bring to the table. If things are going bad for Fury, he will be like, I'm gonna go southpaw. Okay, I'm gonna box. I'm gonna fight him up close. I'm gonna fight on the inside. I'm gonna trade with him. I'm gonna pressure him. Like, there's more than one game plan. I feel with AJ, if he's standoff boxing you, coming in and getting you out and it doesn't work, he's gonna have a long night. He's not gonna adapt as much as Fury is. That's why I sometimes will tip Fury just a bit of a head.
I mean, look, the way to get the Fury is pressure. Because that's Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora landed a lot of shots in that first fight. And Otto Wallin, even though he was fighting out of the southpaw stance, we saw what he was able to do by applying pressure. Fury had to make the adjustment and switch off to being southpaw because he started to fight as an orthodox fighter. And if you go back and you watch that fight, it's the same thing in the Wallin fight as Usyk and Joshua. Wallin's foot was on the outside of Fury's foot. So when he wanted to land, he was able to land. Same shit with Usyk and Joshua. His lead right foot was on the outside of Joshua's lead left foot. So when he wanted to get off that straight left, it was there for him. It was already in line. The way to get the Fury is to apply pressure. Joshua don't have the gas tank for pressure. So now I'm starting to wonder, yo, dog, if you can't beat this guy, you probably can't beat that guy. Because he's just a bit, they ain't the spitting image of each other, but they have some of the same abilities. They're both nimble. They're both light on their feet. They're both agile. They can
Talking of pressure, of course it's not the same level, but Otto Wallin applied pressure to Fury for the best part of 10 rounds. And Fury was able to keep, he was winning the rounds and he was able to keep with it. Obviously, Otto Wallin isn't the same level as Usyk or Anthony Joshua, but even in that variation, Fury can take pressure to some extent, to some level.
Because he got the wins in the, well, it's controversial because, and somebody brought this to my attention after the fight, and it kind of stayed with me that we've seen fights stop for less, than what he had on the side of
Oh
his.
yeah. It's because it's Fury. They weren't gonna stop that.
And if it wasn't Fury and it was another fighter, that fight would have been stopped on cuts.
Oh,
but because it was Fury, they let it go. Like, nah, let's let these guys fight. So because we don't want him to lose to this fucking guy.
We need our golden boy to stay golden. Now we can't have that loss from anyone.
Yeah. The golden rule. He was the golden boy, makes the fucking rule. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Because I'm like, it's true. Look at Andre and Akavov. That fucking fight got stopped just because Andre landed too many jabs. Akavov wasn't cut. He wasn't bleeding. He was still coming forward throwing punches, but because he kept getting hit with the jab, they stopped the fight. It was a bullshit stoppage. So I'm like, yeah, it's a valid point that, you know what? I seen fights stop for less than what I saw in Fury versus Valine. But pressure is the way you get to that guy. Pressure. And if you can't pressure Usyk, how do you pressure Fury? You didn't pressure Usyk. You tried to box him. That's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. Like, why would that be? Why would you do that? And I just thought it'd be busier.
I thought as well. I think of course they know AJ's got power. They know he's got strength. And you notice how I think it was in the 8th or 9th they cut Usyk on the eye.
Yeah.
They were probably hoping if we just stand off and throw our shots in, we're gonna catch him eventually. It's a game of cat and mouse. We will eventually catch him. We will eventually hurt him. And when that moment comes, we're going to capitalize and rip straight into it. I think that's what they were expecting from earlier on, but of course, it didn't happen how they expected it to. And as the time went on, they just realized, hold up, this moment isn't going to happen where we can catch him. The best they come to doing so was cutting Usyk's eye. And if they were to when they cut his eye, if they wanted to pressure on that eye or continue hitting that same spot or have the accuracy to, then yeah, it would have been a short night for Usyk, but they just didn't have the ability to do that. They just didn't have the ability. Lightning weren't going to strike twice in that same eye for them.
I think, I could see, as far-fetched as it might seem to some, I could see him winning a rematch, but obviously I'm not fucking psychic.
How?
The way he wins the rematch is to shorten up the jab and crowd Usyk. Shorten up the jab and crowd Usyk, because if you're shortening up the jab and you're shooting that jab at him and it's a short jab, not a step, if it's a short jab that you're stepping into, he'll cover up and move around. If you do this long enough, he'll be the one that's giving up ground. You'll win the rounds. The main issue is the gas tank. If you up your work rate, right, you got to have the fitness for it. If you're going to throw more in the second fight than you did in the first, you have to have the fitness for it. The other thing is, are you going to go for the knockout? Are you? Because you clearly didn't this time. Is your plan to go in there like, look, by round 6, we want this guy out of there. And everything that happens from round 1 to round 6 is me getting him out of there. All right? It's risky, but is that what y'all going to do? Because boxing ain't the motherfucking answer. It's not the answer. You tried that. Ooh, I can't wait for that rematch.
The thing is, of course, where do you reckon it'll be? Do you reckon it'll be in the UK again? Because they were talking about, Usyk wanted it to be in Ukraine, but I can't see a unified world heavyweight title fight being in the Ukraine.
If it's not the UK, it'll be Saudi Arabia, because this is boxing, and you do a fight where it gets the most money. If that's Saudi Arabia, then it's Saudi Arabia. If it's the UK, then it's the UK. I think the second fight is going to be way bigger than the first fight, because
I'll look forward to the second fight, but at the same time, this rematch clauses in boxing are just getting annoying, because once you beat a man, that's it.
You know why I can't say that? Look, everybody acts like rematch clauses is causing too many rematches, when in all actuality, if you look back, there were more rematches then than there are now. How many fucking times did Sugar Ray Robinson fight Jake LaMotta?
But they have space between those fights. They wouldn't fight him straight off. They wouldn't be held up contractually.
They do, and I'm not knocking that, but I'm like, yo, I used to see more rematches then than now. Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti, 3 fights. Riddick Bowe, Vander Holyfield, 3 fights. I think fucking LaMotta and Robinson have, 5 fights? Motherfucking Pacquiao is the rematch master. Up until recently, he was the rematch master. Like, he got rematches with everybody except Jeff Horn. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, okay, with those as well, because we're at a time where there's so many other compelling matchups that we want to make. Wilder Fury is happening. I would love to see the win of that. Straight into Usyk. It makes so much sense. We're so close. But now we're choosing to do rematches. Do you know what? If Usyk, say Fury wins, and now we get Fury Usyk, okay, then you can have your rematch of AJ after that. But I just want to see some progression. I don't feel like we're going nowhere We're not going nowhere. We're at a time
You
where
know
there's
what?
so much going on.
I dig what you're saying, but I don't. Right here, if Wilder wins, they would have never went after Usyk. If Fury wins, maybe.
You don't think Wilder will? Wilder's thing is, he was ready to go
Politics,
to Russia
bro.
to fight for decades.
Politics. It's politics, bro. It's politics. Come on now. Look, the man been around 13 years. 13 years, right? Both Klitschko brothers. Motherfucking, you didn't go after one of them. You was around for both. Vitaly didn't retire officially till 2013. Vlad didn't fucking retire till what, 2016, 2017, right?
But
You like the PBC, right? They would not. If he wins, this is what I'm telling you. If he wins, and Usyk still got them belts, they won't fight because I've been saying this for 4 years. We're not getting an undisputed champion. B. They fooled me with the Fury shit. They fooled me. I thought it was going to happen. Nope, no undisputed.
Okay, but now that so back then when Klitschko was champion, Wilder was on the come up and he was looking for paydays. He was looking to establish himself. Now that he's at the top of the game, and there's another guy at the top of the game, and you're gonna get super stupid money for that fight. It now makes sense for Wilder.
No, because what
especially
they're gonna do.
No.
No, that's not what they're gonna do. They're doing like it's what I thought, bro. Look, he wins that fight, right? Let's just say hypothetically, right? Beyond next month, he wins the fight. He gets the belt back. What they're gonna do after that, if they can find a way to get around Dillian, and I honestly believe if he wins that belt, they will find a way to get around Dillian. They will. They won't order the fight. It won't get made. What they're gonna do is Andy Ruiz on pay-per-view in America. Or the winner of if Kovnowski wins, they'll fight him because that's what they were gonna do before he lost. They said they had a hit list of guys that he was gonna fight. Kovnowski was one of them. They was talking about Ruiz after he beat Joshua, but in all likelihood, if he wins that belt back, they're not gonna do no undisputed, bro. They're gonna go after Andy Ruiz, and they're gonna do a pay-per-view here in America. They're going to hope that the Chicano fans buy it because of Ruiz and Wilder's fans. They're going to hope that they can put that together and do that. That's what I see happening if he wins. Now, if if Fury wins,
he'll retire.
Fuck around. He blew off the idea before any of this happened. He blew off the idea of fighting Usyk, right? And it's bullshit. He said, I ain't going to fight no foreigner. Bro, you fought Tom Schwartz.
I saw that interview. But it's very different when you're saying it when there's no money to when you're saying it with 100 million.
There's money.
That's potentially on the table.
There's money in Usyk? Who? Who money? Like, look, I like Usyk. I love boxing. But I know the division is better if Anthony Joshua has them belts as far as finance because he brings the fanfare, right? Mm-hmm. Usyk, I love him, but
yeah.
I mean, like, as a hardcore boxing fan, yeah, I love the guy. He's fucking great. He's amazing. But if he wins, that money that used to be at heavyweight, oh no, we're gonna have to wait for Joe Joyce to start beating people up and get at that level because Joe could reinvigorate the heavyweight division. If he keep winning, he could get a bunch of fanfare behind him. But Usyk, no, there's a divide. There's a national divide. There's a language barrier. Like, bro, if you can speak English, you better fucking start. Look at what it's doing for Canelo ever since he spoke English. Motherfuckers can't stop talking about the shit. And he's like, oh, shit, Canelo got swag. Like,
I hear that.
You know what I'm saying? If Usyk keeps those belts, there will be no undisputed champion for many, many years.
Do you know, on the marketability side, I always said AJ would be the better fighter to win because marketability-wise, he puts the sport out there. He's transcended it. He's cross-branded it over. He does lots for the sport. Of course, he speaks English, but he's the face of a heavyweight division that everyone kind of wants to see. A big, strong, muscular black guy. Yeah, it fits. Usyk, the Eastern European, the Russian, Ukrainian-speaking foreign guy whose English isn't great, who hasn't got the most marketable of look. Yo, he does the business, don't get me wrong. But I can understand that marketability, it probably won't be a lot of fun. It won't be a lot of fun.
Look,
only us boxers appreciate Usyk, but the outside world, maybe not.
Vlad was more of a knockout artist than Usyk. Vlad actually came across better commercially than Usyk, just not to Westerners. So if Vlad could not be, all of that. Imagine Usyk that be playing around and he looked like he be wailing, like he just be wailing all by himself. If Vlad was not a big commercial success to the Westerners here in America, which he was not, because he wasn't American, people didn't gravitate towards him.
And he spoke English.
Some fucking. They thought he was Russian. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And look, the man had 53 knockouts, so he was a knockout artist. He had 53 knockouts, but they don't like the Euro guys around here. There's a lot of xenophobia in America, and people actually pride themselves on their xenophobia. In case you haven't noticed, if you go on Twitter, that's how people's minds work. They don't act that way in the street. All that shit you see on Twitter is not how people act in the street, but that is how their minds work. That xenophobia, that prejudice, that bigotry. That's real. That bit of it is real. Like, they don't give a fuck about no foreigners. You can't turn it. You can't turn the heavyweight division won't be as hot as it was if they don't feel some kind of relatability, and they feel no relatability.
So of course Americans, everyone else is foreigner. How did Americans take to Joshua? Because they class him as a foreigner, right? Joshua is a foreigner.
Look. The best parallel for Joshua that you can use, because I came up in the Lennox Lewis era and I saw how they treated Lewis, that like it's a full 180. When Lewis came, he's soft, he English, he using his jab, he being cerebral. They didn't like him. Oh, he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. He ain't shit. He ain't like, it's so wild to have been able to see how it happened, because I was there for all of it. Like, yo, they was talking wild shit about Lennox, man. And I saw, Lennox is he's all right. He's all right. Like, he's not bad. He's huge. His reach, 84-inch reach for a heavyweight. That's unusual.
But
right?
Lennox, he spent some time in the States. He had
he did with Crump, with Emmanuel Stewart, but they still didn't take to him though. Like, I'm telling you, they used to shit on Lennox, bro, on the ground in the streets. Like,
who had it worse, Joshua or Lewis? Because I would have thought Lewis would have been taken to a bit.
Lewis had it worse. Lewis had it worse because. See, this is the funny thing. Lewis obviously has an excellent career, decorated, and characteristically, he was more aggressive than people gave him credit for. But what they didn't like is the size of the man and how much boxing he's doing, because he was a good boxer. He had a very educated jab, the best jab in the division at that time. That was not appreciated at that time. So they used to give him a lot of shtick, like, this tea drinking cat, he over here drinking tea, using his jab, getting knocked out by McCall and Rockman. They didn't like that at first. In hindsight, when you look at it, like, he's a bad motherfucker. Like, he's a bad motherfucker. Lewis had it worse, and they didn't appreciate him. The parallel, however, is Joshua, because that's how they talk about Joshua. Joshua fought for a title in 16 fights in 3 years. That's dope. In 3 years as a professional boxer, after 15, 16 fights, he was fighting for a title. And give him another 2 years, he's unified. All right? And in that time, 90,000 at Wembley, 20,000 at Madison Square Garden, 70,000 at Tottenham. He's doing great things for the division. He's bringing money into it. And these things are not appreciated now. But when they're gone, you'll appreciate it. When the heavyweight division get quiet and you just start seeing more Makhmudovs and Hergovics and all of them and all these names with consonants in them, you'll long for the days of Anthony Joshua, bro. Because it could be, and I'm scared of it, could be Klitschko era too. It wasn't a bad era. They were good fighters. Alexander Povetkin was always a good fighter. Can't nobody tell me different. He was part of that Klitschko era. Both the Klitschkos were excellent fighters. They both were, but the Americans did not appreciate it. Oh, they're not like me. They don't sound like me. They don't look, they don't gotta fucking look like you to know how to fight. The fuck is wrong with you? But that's the feeling. That's
what I kind of feel with Usyk. No disrespect to Usyk, but that's what I kind of feel with Usyk being the lead face of the heavyweight division. We've had personalities like Fury, characters like Wilder, personalities like Anthony Joshua. So to then go to someone such as Usyk, who's a bit more subdued, a bit more reserved back, not what you'd expect to see on your Rice Krispies box in the morning for the commercials. It's taking a turn. It's not going to be as lucrative or marketable as it was before. Klitschko era might be coming back.
Joe Joyce maybe could save us, because Joe comes across very well. He plays video games and shit. And it's like, from a marketing angle, you could really sell Joe Joyce, man. You could.
What about Dubois? Could you sell Dubois? He's a bit quiet, but could you sell him?
he's too young and too quiet. It's not that you can't. It's not that you can't. It's that he don't give you nothing to work with. He don't have no personality. Like did you see the shit? The Undefeated podcast when they did the shit about Dubois and Joyce, what was supposed to be like a parody of their build up, and you just see Dubois sitting there staring at the camera like. That shit had me crying because that's how he is. Be like he's a good kid, but he's young. Like he ain't come into his own yet to have his swag.
Hear that.
Joe is a grown ass man. Like Joe, he got his girl. He was squeezing her ass on Instagram. After he beat Daniel, he went home, played some video games, and they posted the pizza he was eating and shit. It's like shit like that. Believe it or not, people notice it.
Yeah, no. It's the little things that people post on social media that gets the following. Does he like video games? Does he like anime? Does he like takeout? Does he like this? Does he like that? Yeah, that's what wins you over because people can piece your characters together and what the time
when they can't get a read on you and you just gonna sit there and that shit had me roll because it's like, yes, that's Daniel, but it's because I know it. Why? It's because he's a kid. He's only like what 23. At 23, you haven't developed all the way yet, like to your character and all of that. Like not really. So I understand, but you can sell Joe, and I'm like, look, man, if worse come to worse, let's pump Joe full of steroids and sick him on Usyk because we got to save this division, dog.
Yo, get Joyce at the Reynoso camp. He'll be ready.
Fuck it. Fuck to save boxing. Usyk got the gut. No, I'm just. That's so wrong. People gonna think I'm fucked up for saying. But look, I've been through this. I was here for the Eastern Euro invasion. I saw what it did to Western boxing.
But I think he'll be different because we're talking about Klitschko, who's like 6'9" here, close to 7 foot, big solid of a man, natural heavyweight. Even a good heavyweight will have trouble getting him off. I feel with Usyk, I feel a big man with the right game plan, someone like Fury, yeah, they can get it done. You've not got a mammoth of a man who is just huge, who's hard just to stand up to, let alone land a punch on. It's different, I feel, in that case. Usyk, they're different animals.
There's a problem, right? The problem is, let's say Usyk beats Joshua for the second time. He jumps into bed with Matchroom. What's the problem? Politics. Politics as always, right? So that'll keep the division divided. In the meantime, who are his mandatories? I would rest all my hopes in that situation with Dillian White because he could save the division. Dillian don't care. He got knocked out by Joshua, got knocked out by Povetkin, but he's never been gunshot. In that second fight with Povetkin, he came out hell for leather. He's flawed. He has his flaws, but he went for the knockout and he fucking got it. All right? That's the fight. You got to fight with Usyk. All right? You got to take that chance.
Do you think Dillian White beats Usyk? I would like to believe so, but I'm not sure.
I don't know if he beats him. I just know that he'll give him a much harder time than Joshua. Yeah. Much harder time. Maybe Usyk gets knocked out because Dillian, because he don't have the greatest gas tank, but for them first 4 rounds, first 4 or 5, yo, it's gonna be a rough fucking night, bro. Cause he not gonna sit there and jab with you. He ain't come here to like, yo, you little bro, you a little cat, and he gonna treat you like a little cat. Cause that's the fuck he supposed to do. He ain't supposed to sit here fencing and all that. Like, bro, I do little. I'm fucking walk through his ass. That's what. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But take away Dillian. If Dillian can't do it, AJ can't do it, and the politics prevent Fury from doing it, who beats this guy?
I would say, does what if Dillian's got a chance by coming out throwing haymakers and throwing bombs and throwing big shots, then I would like to think Wilder has a chance as well.
No, like, bro, you wild, bro, you wild, and you giving Wilder, bro. He has to set his feet to throw a punch. Wilder has never had the feet. He never had the feet. But to line up that right hand for that southpaw that's moving that way, you gotta set your feet. He's gonna do that with Usyk. Bro, that dude's like, nah, bro. No.
Obviously, Ortiz,
bro. This ain't Spooker.
He did it with Ortiz twice.
Ortiz is nobody, bro. He looked regular with Malik Scott, who moved a little bit. I remember the Malik Scott fight. Malik moved a little bit. And Ortiz didn't look like the Ortiz that fought 40-year-old Tony Thompson. You didn't look the same. You fought Dave Allen. You didn't look the same. I synced it, bro. I've synced it. Like, the only thing you did that everybody feel that like, yeah, man, he all that, is you fought Wilder. But you lost. He been around too long. Like, look, he been around since 2010. And if you've been around since 2010, you didn't bump into Derek. You didn't bump into Alexander. You didn't bump into Kubrat. You didn't bump into Usta. I'm gonna start looking like, yo, what the fuck were you doing? Because they were all fighting each other. What the fuck were you doing? Getting popped for pads with Coyote, the cruiserweight that moved up. And that's his biggest win. Latif Coyote. And we can't even say that because you popped for pads. You popped Fernandrolone right after that. You didn't beat nobody, bro. He didn't beat nobody. So I'm telling you.
You don't rate Wilder. You don't think Wilder deserves to beat. Would you say Wilder's top 5 heavyweights?
When he was a champion, I would have said yeah, but it's the inactivity for me. It's the inactivity. Like normally, look, these is ranks like any other sport. And in any other sport, well, if the team ain't playing, how the fuck they gonna get ranked? The team ain't playing. You haven't fought in 19 months. And you coming off a loss. So to me, you should be outside of the top 5, maybe in the top 6. It don't make sense. Andy fought. Andy rebounded off the loss with the Areola cat, but he fought. You haven't fought since February, bro, of last year. A lot of other motherfuckers been fighting.
But Neva has a champion. Neva has the green belt champion.
Fair enough, but he has that championship status to give him that consideration. And look, we can't put him in the bottom of the top 10. He's a fucking champion, and he's the lineal champion. We can't do him like that. If anybody gets that consideration, it has to be a guy that actually has a belt. Now, you don't have a belt. You're coming off a loss. It's been 19 months. Where's the argument for you to be top 5? Now, if you beat him, you're top 5. If you beat him, I don't know if you're gonna beat him. I don't really care either because I ain't buying that shit. I'm not buying that. Well, maybe I will. I want to see.
Come on, it's a big fight.
It's not even that fight. I'm gonna. It's Ajagba versus Sanchez. I want to see what's going to happen with.
Let's talk Ajagba Sanchez because I'm actually quite compelled about that one. I've been following Ajagba since the Olympics, the 2012 Olympics.
Listen, and my man, the Nigerian Nightmare, is going to knock out that fake 27-year-old. That dude is not 27.
Let's just confirm this for everyone watching. Sanchez, in no way, by no passport, is 27 years old. He became 27 years old when he came over from Cuba after 35 years of living in Cuba. So we can establish that. In all of his, I think the only thing Sanchez got going for him right now is that he's with Eddie Reynoso. That's the main thing I can name about him. Other than that,
he has speed, but he don't have size. He don't have power. I see Ajagba as getting better. I've seen Ajagba. Yeah. People were giving Ajagba a hard time. Come to find out that he has some kind of an injury or some shit that he had to get a surgery on. He's looking better. His punches are looking stronger. I think he's with K. Karoma. I like the team that's around him. I like his corner. Sanchez, like, bro, I just saw you on that other card, and you look like regular, like with a regular cat, like looking regular. You Reggie out here, bro. And we know you're not 29. Like, fuck, yo, bro, that dude look like he could be my father, and I'm fucking damn near 40, and he look like he could be my father. Bro, I don't like Sanchez, B. I like Ajagba by way of knockout for that fight. Now, as far as Kovnowski and Helenius, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen in that fight. That's why it's a good fight, because I don't know who's going to win that shit. I didn't expect Adam to get knocked out like that.
No one did. They were talking like he was going to be the next one to break through Adam, but when you took that knockout, it kind of set things back. It's an interesting kind of rule, because heavyweights, all the attention on the heavyweight boxers. Let's see who's next up. Let's see who's coming through the door.
No, I mean, look, it's good guys coming through. Fucking Tony Yoka, Arslanbek Makhmudov, who's based out of Canada.
Do you know what I find funny about Tony Yoka? Tony Yoka, yeah, he beat Joe Joyce in the Rio Olympics. But since then, do you know funny? I saw Joe Joyce the other day. I was talking to him. I was saying to him, you beat Yoka in the Olympics. You got silver, he got gold. But since then, you've gone on to make much more waves than Yoka. You've definitely looked like you've
Everybody forgets why. Everybody forgets why. Yoka got fucking banned. He missed like 6. He missed because they have their own version of Vado or whatever over there.
He did. He missed the test. But even outside of those performances, even in his first few performances, he hasn't looked the part. He hasn't looked the bit. Joyce
I'll
has looked
say
over
this.
there.
Look, I think that because they gave him some kind of long ass suspension. Because before that, he looked all right before that suspension. Probably the Pets. I don't know.
He looks all right. In
He
Joyce's
looked no.
first fight,
But he looked all right with Johan Dubois too. He knocked like that was he beat the shit out of Dubois. I saw his last fight with that guy, and technique wise, he looked all right. He didn't look nothing special, but technique wise, he looked all right.
if you're an Olympic gold medalist, I don't want to hear he looks all right, nothing special. You better be special, kid. You better be special.
Not all gold medalists are created equal. For every Andre Ward, there's an Audley Harrison. Like it's not a given. Look, Mikhail Aloyan, he had a great amateur career. His pro career, it just is what it is, bro. Ryota Murata, Olympic gold medalist. Is he the man at heavyweight? I mean, at middleweight? No,
but no, it's just in this example, because they were both at the same time and they were both opponents and they both had the same timeline to follow. It's just interesting to see how one who lost has gone on to now become a top 10 ranked WBO. I think, was he number 2, number 3?
Who lost? That's what happens when
Joe lost. Yeah, lose.
You know what I mean?
The guy who
like Roy lost.
Yeah, you know Roy lost the Seoul Olympics. He lost.
And Floyd, he lost. You know what I mean? It's like, did he? You know, it is what it is. But what I'm gonna say is, Tony has potential. Tony has potential.
He has potential, but I think his promoters have squandered him. I'm not too sure what his trainers are doing. Wise, the whole Peds thing messed him up. I think it's a lot of squandered. I did a piece before saying Yoka was the UK AJ. He's 6'6", same build, even the same name, Anthony, Tony Yoka. Same look, both won Olympic gold medals, both based in the capital city of their European counterpart country.
I'll say, let him get the top rank, bro. Let him get the top because
he's married. He's married to the Olympic gold medalist
Estelle
Yoka, who won it at the same time. What a story! They should be on the front of all the magazines in France.
Listen. I said this. I'm like, yo, that's a beautiful thing. Like, she's a gold medalist. He's a gold medalist. The fighting family. They got 2 kids. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful fucking image.
But just to look across the seas in Europe, just look across the seas in the UK, Matchroom have completely marketed the hell out of Joshua just on his look, physique. He's in commercials, adverts.
They're French. It's just that look, like when there's a language barrier, right? If they can't and I don't know what the fuck they say, I can't read them. Now I know I've seen him, and I can see that he's a shit talker because of his mannerisms. I've seen him like, yo, that dude, he talks some shit. I'ma say, let Top Rank get him. Top Rank said because this is long overdue. He was supposed to make his Top Rank debut. The pandemic delayed it. They said, they signed him. He's been supposed to make his Top Rank debut. I thought
they co-promoted him. I thought they started co-promoting him.
They did, but he's not over here. He hasn't fought under the banner yet. I think they said that they bought a house in Texas and they're gonna so that they could be closer to Virgil or some wild shit like that. Let him get over here because that's what my thing has been. They said very recently after this last fight that he did, they were gonna let him have his Top Rank debut. And once he gets around those people and those trainers and that atmosphere, then let's see what we're working with because Top Rank helped revive the career of Jamal Herring. Top Rank now, F.A. Jagba, when he crossed over, now he looks better. He looks sharper. He's knocking people out. So my thing is, let Yoka go to Top Rank and then let him have 2-3 fights and then let's see what he looks like. Because, Jared Anderson, to me, Top Rank kid, that kid is the fucking future. He might save us. It might take a while because it's still early, but Jared Anderson is a bad motherfucker.
This is how bad Tony Yoka's promotion is. This is how bad it is. I think his fight with Christian Hammer, that was the day before Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the day before it. Now, I was watching it on Box Nation. In the UK, I was watching it on Box Nation. When Yoka versus Hammer, I think into around round two, that was the same time that the weigh-in for Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson started. Now, if you're any kind of promoter, if you're any kind of manager, and you've got your fighter fighting at the same time Mike Tyson and Roy Jones are having their weigh-in, then you aren't looking out for your fighter. You aren't doing a good job on your fighter. Because I'm not gonna lie,
because they French, bro. They not worried about
Bro,
they
you need to worry
they
about
ain't
this.
worried about shit. They chilling.
You need to worry about this. Because me watching it as a UK fan, do I want to watch Roy Jones win or do I want to watch Tony Yoka fight past the Christian Hammer?
Go watch the Dubois fight. There was fucking people there, bro. Go watch the last shit. They was like, yo, they fuck with him. They fuck with him.
We'll talk about on a worldwide basis, not just in France. That's the thing. Keep it in France.
Look.
Get out of France.
Let's call it what it is. If you don't speak English and Spanish well, worldwide, it's hard to get to because those are the two most dominant languages.
It's hard, but don't put your fight on during the time of a Legends weigh-in. Well, that's not help. That's not getting no points.
They not hip to the American, like, bro. They not hip to the Americans. Like, yeah, let's slow up what we doing because these American cats is like they not catering to an American audience.
People like me and you. We're die-hard boxing fans. We watch boxing around the world, no matter what time it is in the day. On that day, I chose to not watch Yoka because there was another big boxing event on. Which, if they were to have just changed the schedules by an hour, I would watch a Tony Yoka fight.
It's hard. Look, it's hard for me to imagine that all them French guys over there in France, where they speak French, is sitting here worried about the Americans that have their weigh-in later on. We must. They ain't worried about us. That fight wasn't for us.
Wait, you don't think that the French people at home weren't watching Tyson and Ray Jones? You don't think that they were tuning into the weigh-in over their boy? Any of them? You don't think so?
Honest to God, nah. No, honestly, Tyson, if I think about it, like, yo, do I think the
world was tuned in?
Being real, do I think that in France they were sitting around, you know, Jones, is like, nah, I ain't worried about that shit. They ain't worried about that shit.
But not just the French, international viewers like ourselves. Are we going to tune into a Yoka fight, or are we going to see Mike Tyson get on the scale?
Honestly, look, I watched the fight. Over the weigh-in, I did watch the fight. Like I watched.
Well, that's you, bro. There's a million other people that chose. Nah, we're watching Roy.
I'm gonna tell you why. I watched the Hammer fight because I had seen the Dubois fight before that, and in the Dubois fight, he got a highlight reel knockout. Like everybody thought it was gonna be a real fisticuffs, that they was gonna go to war. Nah, he just beat the shit out of Dubois and left. So it's like, oh, he got a highlight reel knockout. He fake buzzing right now. He does draw a crowd in his country. Could he be better? Of course, but that's what Top Rank is for. That's why now that he got that fight with that guy out of the way, the plan is to bring him over here, let him have his Top Rank debut. And then let's see if Top Rank and that engine can't do more for him. Because I don't expect him to have that notoriety being based out of France. And that's where he's always been. He's been based out of France the whole time. He never fought nowhere else.
In the UK, I go to the train station and I see banners of Joshua just everywhere. I see links.
It's fucking Joshua, bro.
Like, but they could have done. But the thing is, no. Here's the thing. In the UK, Joshua won his medal in 2012. Since 2012, I've been told he's a big deal. He's a big deal. Yoka back in France. Put him on some cross-hunt adverts. Put him on some.
Right, he probably at Under Armour at the Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, you never know. You might walk into Dick's Sporting Goods or Models or some shit and see Tony Yoka. You never know.
Hear this. So 2018, I spent the year in Japan. When I went to the Under Armour store, guess whose big old face I saw on the picture on the wall?
You can't compare AJ to Yoka when by that time AJ was a unified champion.
But also as well, he was never pushed. AJ was pushed from the day he got the medal. Yoka wasn't pushed like that in France as a commercial commodity. He won't put on brands. He won't put on French TV every day. He won't shove down their throat.
Can we say this? France, not a big country, right? Not big. Neither is the United Kingdom is not that big neither. But boxing is bigger in the UK than France. We can say that. It's bigger. So there's gonna be like, yeah, he's a gold medalist, and so is his wife. But you in a country that boxing really like it ain't that like that to where like they gonna push you like that too. You didn't help yourself with the anti-doping shit because he lost a year because of that shit. He lost like a year and some months because of that anti-doping situation.
So did Dylan White. He had charges against him for a year.
Dillian got enough personality for 3 fucking people though, bro. That's Dillian White, bro. Like Dillian got enough I like what he said after the fight. He's like, man, I don't give a fuck about Alexander Usyk, that's my man, B. I don't give a fuck about him. Did he knock Joshua out? No, he just outboxed him. I don't give a fuck about him. And before that, he did an interview. They was asking him about Usyk. He was like, "Yo, he's just a guy who, to me, tries to be too eccentric. Where everybody's fawning over Usyk and they're enamored with him. Dillian was the only cat going against. He's going against the grain. Like, well, he's just a guy. He likes to be eccentric. I don't care. He's just a guy. I'm like, yeah, that's the attitude you gotta have with these cats, man. Like, these are not your friends, B. They trying to beat you and take your shit. These is not your friends. Dillian has the right attitude, and that's why I think. Look, if AJ can't get them belts back, Dillian might have to be the savior because he has the right attitude. Like, bro, I'm not here to fucking box you and take pictures with you and be your fucking friend. I'm here to take your head off. That's what we're here for. And that's what he would try to do.
No, I hear that. And I've been more than happy to see Dylan take the title. I'd be happy to see any of those boys take the title and bring it back over here. I've been saying for a time, I don't care who it is. It could be AJ, it could be Wilder. No, it could be AJ, it could be Fury, it could be Dylan, it could be David Price.
Don't get your hopes up waiting for Wilder to get them belts.
I want to see an undisputed clash in the United Kingdom between two UK fighters. It could be Dylan White versus Joy Joyce. I don't care. I want to see that.
I'm telling you, like, I seen the future, bro. Like, look, there's two futures. In a future where AJ wins, you'll see an undisputed champion if he wins. Very slim, though. If he loses, no undisputed for the next 15 years. It won't happen because Wilder's not going to go for it. I'm telling you he's not. They're going to make him fight his stablemates. Kobnowski, Ruiz, fucking probably a Bermain Stavern trilogy.
Oh, stop it.
Ortiz trilogy.
Stop it.
Fucking...
He's just about a heartbeat about a fight.
I'm keeping it a being with you. Like, if he win, and I'm telling you, like, just don't believe me, just wait. But if he wins, it won't be no undisputed, bro. No, it won't happen.
Maybe so.
Because I've been saying that they only briefly fooled me with the Fury shit. Like, if you look at any video I've done for the last 3-4 years, I said there won't be no undisputed. Only recently, last year, did they fool me into thinking, oh, no, it could happen because Fury, he got the belt, and it worked out the way it worked out. Before that, I've been saying, like, yo, Wilder and Joshua are never going to fight. I said Spence and Crawford, they're never going to fight, and I still don't think they're ever going to fight. It's a lot of shit that ain't going to happen. Never forget, Riddick Bowe never fought Lennox Lewis. Excuse it however you want to excuse it. It didn't happen, all right? Crawford and Spence, that's what's going to happen. They're not going to fight. It won't happen. It won't happen. And Wilder and Joshua, I've been saying they will never fight. It won't happen.
Not even towards the end of their careers.
No.
Let's say Wilder.
Look, bro. For example,
loses. I mean, AJ loses. Not even then.
No, it won't happen. Wilder's already approaching. What's Wilder? 36. He's approaching 35, 36. Bro, Wilder's not the kind of cat that's going to stick around to be a journeyman. Neither is Anthony Joshua. Neither of them. They're not going to stick around till they got losses in double digits. They're not. They made so much money already. Why would they stick around that long? Wilder made $30 million off the fucking Fury fight. He owns property in Alabama. He don't have to keep fighting until he got 10 losses. Anthony Joshua's made more money than that. He don't have to keep fighting until he got 10.
They don't have to, but I know these guys are fighters. They're gonna want that one big paycheck. If they can make one big paycheck from a fight, would they not take it?
I'm telling you, it won't. I'm telling you, like, look, Anthony Joshua's contract. Like, you should be able to see this. Anthony Joshua's contract is a lifelong matchroom contract. Lifelong. That means for the duration of Anthony Joshua's career, there will be politics that divide who is available to him. That won't be a problem for top-ranked fighters. And that won't be it might not even be a problem for Wiserman and certain other fighters. But for them PBC cats, yeah, it's not going to happen, bro. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of fights that is good money fights that will not happen. Dillian White has always been a good money fight in the UK for whoever's willing to travel. Luis Ortiz. Like, what are you waiting for, bro? What are you waiting for? You don't even have a fucking fight. There's a reason for that. It's a reason you've been around since 2010. You never bumped into a Chisora. You never bumped into a Povetkin. You never bumped into a fucking Pulev. You never bumped into a fucking Ustinov, a fucking War. Who the fuck have you been? And what do Wilder and Ortiz have in common? Before they were PBC fighters, they were on the Munguia diet at Golden Boy. Pay attention to Jaime Munguia's resume and all them fights. Pay attention to that and look at their resume. You've been feeding these guys applesauce for years. They have that in common. It's impossible for you to have been around since 2008 and you didn't bump into nobody. You just, who the fuck, where were they finding people for you to fight, bro? Because who are these people? If you look at the top, and I have, and it's available to anyone by way of Transnational or Ring Magazine's annual rankings. If you look at the top 10 fighters going all the way back to 2008, neither one of these guys have faced most of them. Neither one. You didn't fight Bryant Jennings until after Vladimir beat him. The same year that he beat him.
Okay, so you don't think these are the fights that you don't think are going to happen? What fights do you think will happen? Let's say
Joshua versus
Dylan
Joyce
White?
is realistic. Joshua versus Joyce is realistic. Joyce versus Parker is realistic. Because he's not. I mean, like Parker, you're gonna have to leave matchroom at some point. You know what I mean? For other opportunities, or maybe you're gonna get beaten at rematch, and that's when you leave. Other fights that are realistic. Arslanbek Makhmudov versus a top-ranked fighter. I don't know who, but that's realistic. He's based out of Canada now. Real big guy, unbeaten guy, and I could see him crossing that border to come down here and have fights. Who else? Tony Yoka. I don't know. I want to say that he's going to make it, but it's not clear. I need to see what does he look like when he gets the top rank. And if he don't look no different, he's not going to make it. He has to look better.
I was going to say down the line, I'm assuming Ajagba's going to get through Sanchez in 2 weeks. Yoka, Ajagba. I think that could be
It's realistic because they're both top-ranked fighters. Ajagba is a top-ranked fighter. If he makes it through Sanchez, okay, then let's see. Get Tony to America. Let's see what he looks like. Then it's realistic. But I need to see what he looks like because if you don't look no different, top rank is not gonna pad your record, bro. Just let's get that right out the way. They're not gonna they're not gonna feed you. They're gonna put you in situations where you might fucking lose, bro. Point blank, period. And you might lose because you haven't looked nothing special, right? Yeah, you haven't. Nobody grooms talent better than top rank. It's the reason that Floyd and Oscar and Manny and Loma and Tio and Crawford all have been top-ranked fighters. It's a reason for that. Nobody grooms talent better than they do. And if you can't get it done over there, you can't get it done because you're in the right place. Now, Jagba, he is improving. He's looking better. Like people used to say, oh, that dude don't got no killer instincts. No, he had a hand injury, bro. He had to get surgery. Now he's knocking people out again. He's looking all right. I need to see Tony look all right because you boxing too much, bro. Feel me? Like you was boxing with Hammer and you was boxing with the last guy, I forgot his name. It's a heavyweight division, bro. You need to go in there and blast these guys out of there because that's the division that you in. You ain't at middleweight or welterweight for that. You need to go in there and blast these guys out of there. And they going to put you in there with people that, either you going to have to knock their ass out or they going to knock you out. Motherfucking look what happened to Darmani Rock and Michael Kofi. Michael Kofi blasted Darmani Rock out of there. PBC, that was a PBC card. He blasted that guy out of there. The next fucking fight, they blast Kofi lose. It's like, yo, dog, that's the division that you in. The heavyweight division is the most unpredictable division. It is. Anything can happen. Takam was beating Chisora till Chisora knocked him out. Chisora was beating White in the rematch till White knocked him out. That's the division you in, bro.
Moving off the heavyweights for a moment, you mentioned the gold medalist earlier on, Murata, the Japanese guy. He's meant to be fighting Golovkin by the end of the year. We've not seen Golovkin fight. Well, by that point, it would have been over a year because he fought in December. It's going to be the New Year. In Japan, they have New Year's Eve fights.
Yeah.
How do you see that one going down?
Honestly, Murata look, he's younger.
Oh, yeah.
The night of the fight, Murata will not have fought in 2 years. The night of the fight, Gennady will not have fought in 1 year. As far as pedigree, they both similar pedigree. Golovkin silver, Murata gold, right? But pedigree aside, professionally, bro, you haven't had the fights, Murata. You haven't had the fights. You had to have 2 fights with Hassan Andam. And I know you got robbed, but you had to have 2 fights with that guy. You had to have 2 fights with Rob Brandt. The Rob Brandt that Yanni Beck just made quit, you had to fight that guy 2 times to get 1 win. All right? You don't have it. Now, Golovkin is old. And what's working for Murata is that Golovkin is old. He's still experimenting with a new style. And it's in Murata's neck of the woods. You know, because the fight is in Japan. It's not in Kazakhstan. It's in Japan. So that's what's working for you. But what I notice about Murata is he's just very predictable, very robotic. He is a strong puncher. He's big for the division. He has a good right hand. But you robotic. You a jab right hand fighter, bro. No flash, no nuance, no pizzazz.
So you don't think at this point in Golovkin's career, you don't think Murata will be too much for him to handle? You think Triple G will get through it how he's expected to? Because Triple G is almost 40. He's almost 40 now, isn't he? Nearly 40 years old. That's some age for middleweight.
Let's put it this way. The time off might be helping Golovkin, but hurting Murata because Golovkin has wear and tear that he needs to recuperate from. Murata, you're young. You don't even have a lot of fights. All this time off. You wildin'. It's not like it wasn't fights in Japan. Kazuto Ioka versus Kosei Tanaka. That was fucking last year. They've been having fights in Japan. So if you ain't fighting, you doing yourself a disservice. There's no reason you should sit out for 2 years. And I don't...
No, that's terrible.
I don't understand that. Like, why would you want to sit out for 2 years and then get off the couch to fight Golovkin of all people?
No warm up, no nothing. That's a risky one for a 40-year-old Golovkin. That's a risky one. That's not an easy fight.
It's risky for both. It's risky for both. Don't get me wrong. It's just that because Murata is the young guy, it's like, why you doing that? Why you not fighting? Kazuto just fought 2 times in Japan. He fought last year, and he just fought the Spanish dude in Japan. It's been fights in Japan. It's not like it ain't been fights.
One thing they argue in Japan is because, of course, but then again, you can always get an opponent from overseas. You can always outsource an opponent. That's what they did for Ioka the other week when he versed the Mexican guy.
Yeah, like, look, he fought fucking, look, they outsourced the guy Blandamura. I think he's from fucking Argentina. Stephen Butler, he's from Canada. Like, man, find somebody to fight because you need to fight. You about to fight Golovkin. You're going to get off 2 years of nothing. And then Golovkin.
He's not doing himself no favors. No favors. It's a fight which he can really win, put himself out there, but he's not giving himself the opportunity to because you want something, you want some kind of tune-up, some kind of camp, some kind of
and the only thing I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe they could put something in his sake to give him like some senzu beans or some shit so that he can have like powers. Because he is the younger guy, and you know what? It is foreign soil. The Murata that fought Rob Brandt here in America is not the Murata that fought him over there in Japan. In Japan, he was possessed. In Japan, he trounced that man in, 2 rounds? Here, he got outlanded. For every 1 punch he threw, Brandt threw like 3 or 4 punches. You have the rematch over there, it's a different fucking Murata. So who knows? I'm looking forward to the fight, but I just don't understand that. Like, why are you sitting out for 2 years? There's literally people fighting in your country. It's not like y'all on lockdown. We'll see.
Looking at Golovkin, somehow on BoxRec, Golovkin is still ranked the #1 middleweight in the world.
BoxRec did something, and I brought it up the other day. BoxRec changed something manually about their algorithm, and their ranks haven't been the same since. It's affected all of their ranks, their pound-for-pound ranks, their divisional ranks. They haven't fixed it yet. I don't think they're ever going to be honest.
I think someone said the other day, Golovkin was... Where's Golovkin at for the pound-for-pound? Golovkin's #2 on the pound-for-pound ranking. Golovkin, you know, I love Golovkin. Golovkin, he's my favorite middleweight for a while now, but...
Yo, look, man, I try not to argue with people about who they have on their pound-for-pound. I have my own, and he not there, because that's wild.
I like Golovkin. I wanted Golovkin to beat Canelo. I was a Golovkin guy, but I can't justify #2. I can't justify top 10 right now.
I can't justify top 15, bro. Zeramata, Rose. That's what you've been doing, bro. Zeramata and Rose. And now you haven't fought the whole year. Like, bro, how is he pound for pound? In what way? It is what it is, man. Anyway, Rack, it's been good talking to you, bro. Always welcome on the channel. Plug your channel.
You have one out there for social media, for Twitter, Instagram, boxstory_RKM. Hit me up, shout me out. IQ, thanks for bringing me on. So it's good to talk boxing. I see IQ getting into a lot of arguments with people on Instagram. Some people take it the right way, some people take it the wrong way. But you know what? At the end of the day on Twitter, we have this so we can debate, we can put our views across as men, as people with opinions. At the end of the day, we'll go back to our cause and be like, yo, respect until next time. So it's all opinion. It's all boxing, it's all opinion.
All right, man.